Welcome back to Blitzbot R&M. Today I will be ranking my Studio Series Transformers. So, how this video will work is I will go from my 8th favorite to my most favorite, because I have 8 Studio Series Transformers. So, my least favorite Studio Series Transformer is Dropkick. Yes, my oldest Studio Series figure. The reason he is my least favorite is mostly because of his vehicle mode. His vehicle mode is very, very finicky. Another reason he does not look accurate, at all. But a lot of his upsides, he is very posable, he at least looks decent, his transformation is complicated enough, and it is actually kind of fun. So, showing some size comparisons. Here is Bob, and here is a Lego minifigure. So, my second least favorite Studio Series Transformer is Soundwave. Now, one thing I will say, this guy and Dropkick could really alternate for last, second to last, depending on what day it is. They're really close, they're the only ones I don't really like. But the reason this guy is my least favorite, or my second least favorite, is he doesn't really have all that much posability. His vehicle mode doesn't look all too great. I have lost his stand, I will say that. I don't know, there's just nothing really all that good about him. I mean, he's really just boring. He really doesn't have a very good transformation. And then part of it is really, really difficult. The part where you flip it around and you're trying to get the leg attached. This, I realize, you can't at the angle this is at, but still. It is kind of difficult, and that is just not a good thing. You should not have a transformation that's physically difficult to do besides just the amount of steps. So, doing some size comparisons. Here we have a Lego minifigure, and here we have Bob. So, my third least favorite Transformers Studio Series figure is Galvatron. Now, this might come as a surprise because he is one of the bigger figures I have, and I mean, he's a pretty good figure, I will say. This is really where I actually start liking my Studio Series figures. Those first two I don't really like, but these other 6 I do. The reason I don't really like this guy all that much is because, first off, his vehicle mode, having that big gaping, or it's not gaping, it's actually the opposite of gaping, it's a huge chunk sticking out of the back. Looks horrible, especially since there's a hole right next to it, so they could have just had the feet transform a little bit more, and then boom, that would have been solved. And second, his weapon storage. His weapon storage is horrible. It's probably the single-handed worst weapon storage out of any of my Transformers. And third, his transformation is not fun, at all. It's one of my least favorites, probably my second least favorite, only behind Grindel. Forgot to do size comparisons, so here is a Lego minifigure, and here is Bob. So, my next least favorite Transformer is Shockwave. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How did this guy, a core class, outbeat Galvatron? Well, in my opinion, I really only have 2 problems with this guy, besides his size, which I can't really hold against him. First off is the fact you have to clip the gun into the back of the head, meaning I just feel like I'm going to rip his head off. And then second, in vehicle mode, his hands are sticking out, which does not look very good. So, yeah. Now, I will say, I mean, mine's slightly defective, I think. One of the arms, I think, is slightly defective, but I can't hold that against him. I have to judge him fairly. So, taking a look at some size comparisons, here is a Lego minifigure, and here is Bob. So, starting on the second half, the first guy is Dino, and oh my gosh, that does not look good on camera. Oh man, that really does not look good. This new camera seems to have a very gray look to it. I ended up having to switch my recording devices from my old one, and man, this has a really gray looking thing. Oh well. So reason I like this guy, he has got a lot of he's got a fair bit of articulation. His transformation is cool. His vehicle mode is pretty good. If I had to give him a few complaints, it's the fact that like the sides of his toes stick out slightly from his car mode. And then the even bigger issue is the fact that his chest like scraping the ground, so you can't drive him around like his car because you'll scrape up the chest like I have. So taking a look at some size comparisons, here is Bob, and here is Batman. So now we're officially onto the top 3. My third favorite is Mixmaster. Mixmaster is just, there's something I love about Mixmaster. I think it's the fact that he was my first big one I ever got, because this guy was my first non-core class, or not core class, deluxe class I got. And maybe it's just the sound he makes when he moves around, his wheels. Might just be something about it, but I really like, oops, that is not focusing. Come on camera, focus. You gotta focus. That's not good. Yes, finally. When this focuses, it actually looks pretty good. So, I don't really have any complaints about him. I mean, there's nothing really to complain about. He's a pretty all-around good figure. I guess if I had to complain a little bit, it's just kind of back-heavy. But, I mean, he's overall a really good figure. There's really no downsides. So, here's Batman. And here is Bob. I guess if I had to give one downside, it would be he isn't the most articulate, but I mean, besides that, he is a really good figure. So, top 2. Which leader class is going to be number 1, and which one will be number 2? My second favorite Studio Series Transformer is Grindor. And oh man, he doesn't even fit on camera. There, he pretty much fits on camera now. The reason I like this guy less than Scourge is first off because of how clunky he is. He's got a lot of just like clunkiness. He's got a lot of bits and bobs to move around. And for me, that if things aren't even, it upsets me. I can't deal with asymmetry. So fact is, other than if it's planned asymmetry. So stuff like that really affects me. So having all of this stuff is not good. Plus, he's got quite a few joints, like here and here, that can easily break. So I really don't like that. He is a really good figure, and if you can find a good deal on him, I highly do recommend you get him. It's just, I prefer Scourge. And then there's also the transformation. The transformation is way better on Scourge. There's also, it has to do pretty much with the same thing. There's not as much going on, so it's a way easier to deal with than with this guy, because there's crap going on everywhere. So, size comparisons, here is Batman. It's way bigger, and here is, did you even see him? There's Bob, and I forgot to take a look at this guy during his review. Here is, I forgot his name. I don't know. Here he is. That means Scourge is my favorite of my Studio Series figures. The reason is first off, he's very potent. That's great. He's a leader class. That's great. He has a fairly fun transformation. That's great. He's got good light piping. That's great. He's got an alternate arm. That's great. He's got a sword. That is great. His vehicle mode looks pretty good. That's also great. I mean, everything about this guy is pretty much great. I just realized that is not facing correctly. I really like this guy. I really think if you can, you should get him. There's like almost no downsides. If I had to give a few downsides, one of them would be these wheels don't really like coming out. And I mean, that's about it. I mean, maybe the fact that he's not fully painted, but I mean, literally that's every single Transformer ever. So yeah, I really, really do like this guy. I mean, this guy was really well designed. He takes everything that was good about like every other Transformer and makes it better. So I really recommend you get this guy. Taking a look at some size comparisons, there is Batman for like a minifigure, and here you have Bob. So here they all are. One last shot of all of them together. This is going to be my last Studio Series review for a while, and what I mean by a while is until I get more figures. So if you guys enjoyed the series of me doing these guys, that's great. Afterwards, so starting 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be doing LEGO reviews. Now, if you want to see something besides LEGO reviews, replace this, let me know down in the comments below, but it will need to be before 2 weeks from now, because I am not going to want to just upload one LEGO review. And speaking of comments, please, seriously, guys, I need you guys to be commenting your suggestions for my 100 subscriber special. I am at 100 subscribers now, and I do not want to be waiting months to get a recommendation to do a video for. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.